This is a Jewish class sponsored by Hebrew College. We are a religion that is filled with stories. The stories permeate everything that we read, especially through the book of Genesis, through the stories of Exodus, and then beyond. The Talmud, which I'm doing Daf Yomi now, learning a page of Talmud a day, and the stories in Daf Yomi are phenomenal. All sorts of stories about people. It's about people, but guess what? Nobody's perfect. It's a story of many people with many imperfections. So when I say that we are responsible in some ways within our own family systems for keeping our stories alive, I also say the same thing to you as Jewish grandparents or grandparents of grandchildren who might or might not be being brought up Jewish. But I do want you to keep in mind that that if you investigate our texts, you will find only laws, yes, but lots and lots of stories. And nobody has to be perfect. Your stories don't have to be perfect. The characters in your story don't have to be perfect. What they have to be is memorable. And that is up to you. Now, as a result of this little class this evening, the only thing that I hope I've succeeded in doing is putting in your hands a series of tools that once you become aware of, the internet is full of resources for you. I have a resource sheet that I've compiled for you that I will send to everybody that was in the class. And I told you I'm going to give you homework. Take one of those ideas, make it into a story. Even though we are so restricted during this period of COVID-19, storytelling doesn't have to be restricted with the gift of Zoom. This is something we can do. This is something that all of us can do, whether our grandchildren live in Israel or they live in California or New York or Newton. Most of us are restricted to seeing our grandchildren either on screens or from afar. I wouldn't try telling a story from afar. That I think would be difficult if you were 10 feet away. I'm not sure. I feel like you need to have that closeness. And I do think that can be achieved on Zoom or on FaceTime. If you guys will indulge me for an extra minute, is that okay? For an extra minute or two? I wanted to share something. Marion Ross is one of our participants this evening. And during our grandparenting class that we did at the Rashi School in the fall, one thing that Marion did was particularly, although our class was phenomenal and the whole thing, the stories that people told it was just an amazing group, and I was so fortunate to be part of it. But Marion did something that was really, really significant, and I just wanted her to share it with you briefly, if you just have a second. So Marion, yep, there you are. So Marion, if you could unmute yourself, perhaps. Okay, and maybe I'm going to spotlight you. Okay.
Okay. So this was a book I made for my grandson when my husband and I took a trip to Italy, and it's called Isaac's Book of Wheels, and this is what it looks like. I took pictures as we traveled through Italy, and I'm just going to read a piece of it to give you an idea of what you can do when you carry your grandchild with you in your heart as you travel. And then
Can I ask, how old is he?
I think he was probably about 5 at the time that I did this. His name is Isaac. Isaac likes cars and trucks and buses and other things with wheels. So when Papa and Nona saw a red car and a yellow car and 2 police cars in Rome, they thought of Isaac. When they saw a brown horse pulling a cart in front of the Pantheon and a painted horse pulling a carriage on a merry-go-round, they thought of Isaac. When they saw people riding bicycles in sunshine and rain, they remembered Isaac and the bear on a bicycle that he sees on the way to the park. When they saw children on bicycles and scooters and in baby carriages, they missed Isaac. When their visit to Italy was all done, they got on an airplane from Rome home to Boston to see Isaac. Ciao, Italia. Hello, Isaac. And I condensed that a bit, but it was, each page had pictures of things with wheels in Italy and Isaac in his wheels. And he loved it, but it was a joy. It was a real joy to be carrying him with us as we traveled.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, so, if you want to experiment with writing a story, the principles are the same. The principle of painting pictures with words and bringing people in. Think about yourself as an artist as you write or as you tell, and that it's less about how long something is and more about what are the images that you're creating in your grandchildren's minds. So
I think carrying the child in your mind and in your heart as you write it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.